We're now moving forward to the next panel discussion, which is our second last for the day. Please bear in mind that we are still running a competition. We do have some winners that we've already identified, but we will identify them towards the end of the summit. Please be reminded to visit our virtual exhibition, engage with the exhibitors so that you still have a chance to win. And don't forget to hashtag skills 2020. Add your comments and give us feedback. We'd like to hear from you. Joining us on the skill scarcity in the manufacturing sector, we have Feleng Yende, who's the CEO of FP&M SETA. Of course, that is abbreviated. So Feleng will then give us an indication of what exactly is that SETA in charge of. And we also have Mr. Dembe Nenchelele. I hope I pronounced it accordingly, but please, Mr. Dembe Nenchelele, please don't mind my pronunciation. If it's wrong, you will provide us with the correction. He's a portfolio manager for advanced manufacturing at Technology Innovation Agency, which is a proud sponsor of the Skills Development Summit. I'd like to welcome both of our panelists. Thank you very much, Dembe and Feleng, for joining us. I think what we can start with is your opening remarks, just around the organization, what you both do, what the organization has done, and also your opinion on the subject matter, being skill scarcity in the manufacturing sector. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting discussion for me, and I look forward to engaging with you. Feleng?
Good afternoon, and thank you very much, Tsabang. Thanks for the intro. My name is Feleng Yende. I am the CEO of Fiber Processing and Manufacturing SETA. Well, SETA, my SETA is one of the 21 cities, and we are responsible for the facilitation of skills development across 13 subsectors, just at high level: clothing, footwear, leatherware, printing, print media, forestry, publishing, furniture, and many more subsectors. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Yende. Dembe?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, 100%.
Perfect. My name is Dembe Ninjerere, and I am Ninjerere. I'm a portfolio manager for advanced manufacturing here at Technology Innovation Agency.
Right.
What I do is to fund technology development within the NSI, so that we bridge the gap between technology developers and taking their products to market or to the business side of things. So that's what I do.
Okay, thank you very much, Dembe. I think we'll start with you, Ms. Yende. Across the 13 subsectors that SETA is investing in, I just wanted to find out, do you think, and it's a rhetorical question, but I would like us to just delve deeper into it. Do you think that manufacturing is necessary to disrupt the economy?
Thank you. I think very, very important. Completely. Remember, you cannot look at manufacturing in isolation.
Sure.
So the digital technological disruptions are fully aligned to manufacturing. And that is why, when I was asked to participate here, I thought, look, we are going to be talking, or the argument that we're going to be putting forward is a completely different argument. It is no longer the argument that says, we are a newly transformed country, we have got shortage of skills. We are now talking about shortage of skills at a completely different level now.
Right.
Shortage of skills that is now prompted and actually propelled, if you like, forced the change that is forced to happen as a result of the fourth industrial revolution across the world. So indeed, manufacturing, it has to, it does not have to be looked at in isolation. It has to be looked at with all global technological advancements and options. Yeah.
Just an extension of that feeling, and I mean, let's not be soft on the issue of manufacturing. To the both of you, let's speak real issues. I mean, one of the greatest challenges that I know is funding to develop industrial capabilities. Most of the funding that is given to develop a manufacturing hub is a loan. And now you find a manufacturer, for example, it could be toilet paper, it could be a soap, etc., who is then given capital to develop their manufacturing hub. And then once they've been given capital, the challenge there becomes access to markets. So with access to market being a challenge, they can't pay back that grant loan. How do we then deal with some of the financing challenges confronted in the manufacturing industry? Maybe Dembe, you can come in there, and then Ms. Yende, you can extend. Because Dembe, you had mentioned that you guys fund, manufacturing businesses using technology and so forth. So how do we curb some of those challenges?
All right. Thank you very much for that. It's a very interesting question. To answer it, I'm going to take a little bit of a long way around to really get to.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's take an example of a child who's, learning to walk. There's a need to walk. The parents will go and buy this supporting mechanism for the child to stand up straight and then just try to move the legs around. Once the child gets to a point where he or she can walk, they might want to learn to run. That's a need now to run. They might want to be like Usain Bolt. Therefore, the parents will go and then buy shoes and whatever to support the need that is there. And as the child grows further and further away, and where she is to go to varsity, there's a need for transportation. And there will be a car that might be procured or a car that might be supplied or provided. If it's further away, it would be an airplane. So in every instant, there is a need that is coming first. And the technologies or whatever resources that are being used, that are coming around, they're just there to support the need or to fulfill the need. And I think that's a critical point there, because if we don't have that need, we end up developing technologies or something that people use, wherein we find it difficult to actually go and say to a person in the street, please buy my product. Why? It might solve your need. Which need are you solving? So first of all, we need to develop and find what the need is for the people, and then solve that. Technology should be there to assist and to aid the development of mankind to become better people.
How do we access those technologies, Demba? I hear you. I really do, and you're quite right in saying. I mean, just leading from what Feleng said, that we can't look at manufacturing in isolation. That part of disrupting the economy is a relationship or a marriage between manufacturing and technological advancements. I mean, this is where your automation comes in. But at a practical level, how do we access those capabilities? Because we can be skilled in that component, but how do we access the finances that are required to even develop a manufacturing plant? It's a grant loan usually, but that's
so as I mentioned earlier on, that I'm from TIA, which predominantly deals with funding. One of the things that we will ask you when you are applying for funding will be, again, what is the need that you're solving?
Okay.
Yes. If the need is there, and then we'll further ask you, what is the technology that you are bringing about? What is unique about it? What's new about it, based on the global scale? why should we continue with you?
Yeah.
And once we have that becomes an easy thing to go with, to fund and motivate to get funding for. So again, let's go back to the need. There should be need, and there should be some innovation and innovative ideas around that. There are some funding agencies that can just give you money for researching and trying to fund your ideas. You look at your NRFs, and some will come and give you, okay, you want to develop a manufacturing hub. Want to maybe get a stake out of that later on. Your IDC will come in and say that, okay, we'll give you money, we'll buy you equipment, we'll buy you all other stuff, but we'll get a stake later on. So there is funding for that, but there's supposed to be a need.
There's supposed to be a need. Okay, thank you for that, Miss Yende. I just wanted to find out in the space that you've been in. Of course, you've been exposed to young people who want to engage in the manufacturing industry. Maybe let me not say young people, but people in general, because I'll be very honest, I think manufacturing now is a new phenomenon for Black people in particular, who were previously disadvantaged and excluded. So it's a new phenomenon. And I still believe and hold the sentiments that it's still an unequal sector. There's still a lot of issues around that. So in your constituency and in your office, what are some of the issues around the manufacturing sector that have been raised in your office, and how has the SETA that you are particularly in engaged on those challenges or provided recommendations for those challenges?
A very, very important a question there. So Tabang, I think looking at the industries that we have in the country, we know that manufacturing historically was one of those industries that injected quite heavily towards the GDP, right?
Yeah.
We have really been seeing some kind of a decline in the manufacturing space across the board. For an example, if we look at clothing manufacturing in particular, textiles manufacturing in particular, shoes manufacturing as well, just using those as examples, we have seen a lot of challenges, dumps, as a result of dumps that are actually coming from countries like China, where we now have a whole lot of China cities and competing with local manufacturing, and therefore rendering our local manufacturing almost null and void. So dumps really have created a huge challenge for the country and for the contribution of towards the creation of employment, and really selling this as one of the sectors that young people should be interested in. And with that having being a challenge, what we have done and what we do as a sector, we believe that this sector can be turned around.
Okay.
We believe we've got areas that we have identified, that we continue to identify, where we also receive proposals from a number of young people, even just people, entrepreneurs in general, where they are beginning to show some innovation around manufacturing. All right. So we do a lot of research to just make sure that whatever presentations or proposals that are landing on our tables, if we have got appetite to support the areas that speak to skills development, those areas should be well researched, and those areas should then be responding to the market needs or the gaps that we have in the market in terms of services or goods that will then be manufactured. So we receive those, and we go through a process of evaluating and supporting the skills development part of that. However, we've got a partner in DTI and many other areas. But as you might know, that DTI has got what is called Black Industrialist Program. That Black Industrialist Program, it is really looking at the broader spectrum of manufacturing in the country, and they are actually looking at the resuscitation of industries, different industries, different manufacturing concerns or plans in the country. They are then supporting those. So we realize that there is a need to work in partnership with some of these entities whose responsibilities are, for an example, when you look at DTI will then be sponsoring the actual development and maybe the design of the actual manufacturing. We will be looking at the people issue, where we'll then say, okay, fine, we'll bring interns, we will bring research that is innovation based, we will bring skills that are needed, we'll bring products that are needed in terms of manufacturing, we'll also bring knowledge in terms of technologies, advanced technologies that may then assist that particular manufacturing concern or plant to actually be successful in its operations.
So would you agree that more technical skills are then required to improve the manufacturing sector? Would you say it's more of the technical skills?
So let me tell you that manufacturing is very interesting. We're talking for IR, and by the way, I'm a scholar in 4IR. I'm just completing my PhD in public sector leadership and 4IR. So definitely your skills are actually still important and are still necessary. For an example, in our subsector, we realize that while we have got a technological advancement that we are embracing, we still see the following skills as important and as critical in also still driving this sector going forward. Forestry, for an example, we've got what we call chainsaw machine operator. Now, that chainsaw machine operator it's very important. But what we have done now, there's some sophistication that has come about where we are using virtual realities as part of training people in the chainsaw operator skills. So while we have got the original program, but we have said, how do we then advance it? How do we align it to this technological advancement? And industry has come forward together with CETA. We funded a virtual reality program where learners in class can then be taken to the field and they can be able to pass from class. And we've got, just in summary, wood products, we've got your saw doctors, your green timber processing. So those are charcoal manufacturing. Those are some of the skills that we need. Yeah. In printing, sheet felt lithography is still it's still needed. And I think whether we've got technology or not, we still need to do book binding. Book, it's very interesting. People are encouraged to read, and we still have a lot of the target market that is interested in buying books from the shelf, hard copies, and actually reading those hard copies. Furniture. I mean, even if we can be talking about technology, we need a table, we need a chair, we need to actually sit on the table. We need, we can bring in some type of technology, but we still need to be able to have skills to manufacture cabinets, tables, chairs, beds, all of that. So these skills are still important. And with us, we see that we particularly the Black population, we need concerted effort to make sure that these skills are taken seriously. When I remember when I was growing up, seeing somebody, my mom would call someone to come and fix the cupboard at home. It was almost like, no. It's a very important skill. It's a very important skill. We need to maybe complement that skill with entrepreneurship, SME development, so that the person can be able to think much bigger than that and maybe think of coming up with Bradlos. Are you with me? Bradlos is one of the well-known, well-established retail. So we need that cognitive transformation that we need to maybe now drive amongst our people to say, do not undermine the skill of making cabinets or coffins, or you can be able, depending on your ability to stretch your mind, you can go far.
Absolutely. And I think just right there, Ms. Yende, you mentioned such a critical point. And in fact, you corrected me because earlier on I had said that, the manufacturing sector is still unequal. And it's still unequal from a formal perspective. But if you think about it, even throughout colonialism and so forth in history, where Black people were disadvantaged, manufacturing actually started with Black people, because your grandmothers and your aunts and so forth, if they needed a curtain, they would do it themselves. If they needed wood for fire, they would, we had aunties and uncles that would chop that wood and still do. So manufacturing at a small scale has always been there, but now we looking at how do we incorporate those that were disadvantaged into the mainstream economy and into a larger scale, because what we see now, and this is why we have elements of your triple BEE and your BEE as well, because what we see is that you know Black people are used as fronting. You spoke about DTI. I was a speechwriter for the minister at DTI and the deputy as well. So we worked with these kind of programs, and a lot of the cases that were dealt with is in the formal manufacturing sector. There's a lot of fronting that is happening, and so how do we curb that? But I look forward to us divulging that in a bit. But just as we're speaking about technology, Dembe, manufacturing is now moving into it's called smart manufacturing. There are different technological capabilities that are being introduced. I just want to find out what new technologies have TIA introduced, and what new technologies have you funded?
All right. So let me just explain a little bit what TIA does. TIA does not develop technology; it funds the development of technology.
Okay.
However, so we rely on people to come and say that we've got these wonderful ideas that we would
Sure.
like to take forth to the market.
Okay.
However, we're afraid, we're not sure what the market is, so we need to develop it further a little bit so that it can be
Okay.
suitable for the market.
So what
that's
what are those?
one of the
What have they brought forth then to yeah.
Yeah. So apart from waiting for people to come in, we also have this, for lack of a better word, we can say the thematic kind of themes that we have. We say that, okay, people will be opening a call wherein people will be developing smart devices, smart sensors. For an example, any technology that will be involving Internet of Things, any technology that will be involving drones, any technology that will be involving CNC machine, new CNC machines, and the like. So we will say that, okay, please come and apply, and then give us what you have, so that we can just understand what is there in the market, and then we can align ourselves to what the need for the people is, so that we can develop it further.
Okay. Does TIA have youth programs, youth initiatives?
Yes, we do. We have a program called the Youth Technology Innovation Program, which was primarily for young upcoming people, young people who will come in and say that, okay, we want to develop this technology. Please connect us to the right people. Give us funding for to assist with the development of this technology. Maybe give us a lab. Give us, how do I write my business plan? So that was the idea behind it.
Okay. Ms. Yende, what other skills do you think are much needed to progress and to also take the manufacturing sector to the next level? I know we spoke about the interlinked relationship between manufacturing and technology, but what else do you think we need to make sure that manufacturing migrates to the next level in this country particularly?
So for me, the integration of technology and our manufacturing is the integration of the two. It's absolutely true.
Sure.
If we fail to embrace technology in our manufacturing concerns and plans, we might be left behind. Look, we are now looking if there's a shop called Zara. Zara is it's a clothing retail store, Zara, if you go to Zara on Monday to go and look for whatever outfit, you might see this nice outfit on Monday. When you go back to go, and if you do not advise that, they keep it for you. On Wednesday, when you go back, that outfit is out of stock. Now, why is that? Zara has one of their strategies their strategy is based on efficiency. The strategy is efficiency based. In other words, they have curtailed the long manufacturing processes to only 3 days. So their manufacturing processes is shortened to an extent that they have managed to get their own market and they've successfully positioned Zara. Globally, even you travel overseas, you still find Zara, and the same principle applies. You don't see a shirt sitting there for 3 weeks. No. The turnaround time is quite swift, and it is now working for the market. China, if you go to China as well, you find places that have also based their strategy on efficiencies, because agility is a critical principle that has been brought about by new technologies. Agility everywhere, whether it's business, whether it's in manufacturing, you've got to be agile. Now, in China, there are shops where you are able to go in the morning and tell them the design, what you want, in the evening, and you proceed to the meeting. When you come back from the meeting, you are able to then pick your outfit and go to the meeting tomorrow. Now, that is the extent to which the principle of agility has been elevated. Now, and that is being brought about by what? By technology. In manufacturing, we have got skills, the following skills, and now these are now, when we're talking broader and bigger, sophisticated manufacturing, which we have to make sure it is penetrated, particularly by our Black people. We have to make sure that they enter into these areas. They look like gigantic, they look scary, but we can be able to penetrate those. Engineering managers, we need those. This is hardcore engineering programs. We need engineering managers, we need manufacturing quality managers, industrial engineers, production engineers, material engineers, millwrights as well. We need those. Now, in printing, for an example, we see a lot of 3D technology that has come, that has been introduced. We need skills. We need people to be able to understand your 3D, how to operate it. I'm not so sure if you've seen, there are shops now that are using 3D quite creative. When they make your cappuccino coffee, your cappuccino, they will give you cappuccino with your name on the phone. Yeah, that is the beauty of being able to utilize the new technology.
Yeah.
We have to welcome this technology and enjoy the creativity and the innovation that it is actually introducing or has introduced in our markets, including manufacturing. We have got, I know that in South Africa, I have not yet seen that car, self-driven cars. They are manufactured already. That is technology. And what that says to us, that poses a challenge to us, is skills. Are we ready? Have we been able to get to the research that will then give us those skills to now be able to fix those cars? Remember, there's different types of skills. There's a manufacturer. And in the manufacturing process, we need to have those that technicians will be able to
manage it. Yeah.
So it is a very exciting world that has been, I think, made more exciting. But we need our young people to be given knowledge, to be given information, and to be really encouraged to really get advanced into these areas and position themselves not now as a bedroom dressmaker. No. You want your name out there in one of the course, you want your name in one of the industries, In clothing industry, for an example, we're working with Clothing Marketing Council. They are very happy. We ask them to please welcome our young people in clothing manufacturing for them to be part of the much bigger, broader economic mainstream. And they've said, absolutely, those that are registered, be part and parcel of the bigger challenge, they are welcome. And those are the doors that we need to kick open for our young people to be able to access.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I think perhaps we have now reached our closing. I'd like to hear just some closing remarks from both of you. Mr. Dembe, we'll start with you. As you answer, please tell us what are the opportunities available that SMMEs, young people, women can access at TIA, and the likes of you also, Ms. Yende, if you can also just give us your closing remarks, telling us what are the opportunities that can be accessed by our audience to the CETA. So Dembe, we'll start with you.
Thank you very much. I think we are living at a very interesting time wherein the 4IR is bringing about a change in how we're supposed to be thinking. Back then, we would go about asking what is the need that we have and how do we develop tools to actually fit in the needs. Today, because of 4IR, we're saying that the need has changed. The need is for humanity to involve 4IR or AI into our incorporated in our daily lives, in our way of manufacturing, in our way of doing things, and that brings about a lot of opportunities for people. According to Deloitte in 2018, they wrote that from 2018 until 2028, there will be about 2.4 million positions that will be open in the manufacturing sector. Reason why? A lot of people will still have to catch up and learn how to actually incorporate the new wave that is coming on that. And because of that, TIA is here to say that we know what the need is. You know what the need is. Tell us what you need to actually improve in your organization, in your manufacturing state, in your how do you what technology do you want to improve and what technology you want to bring about, and then let's have a discussion about that, and then we'll fund you for that. So it's a very interesting time.
100%. I mean, look, manufacturing sector, as you mentioned, Ms. Yande, that it contributes so much to our GDP, close to between 14 and 26%. So it is a sector that must be prioritized for economic transformation as well. Thank you very much, Dembe, for those closing remarks. Ms. Yande?
Thank you very much. I think the advent of COVID-19 made it so possible for us to wake up. We were forced to wake up and embrace this technology.
Sure.
We saw a lot of manufacturing of great ideas, of innovation, of ways in which we could communicate and get the business going. And I think for me, that was just a start. There's a lot more that we can do to make sure that in our manufacturing industry, we realize the opportunities that are actually sitting there. Now, technology for me, a lot of people we are saying, particularly in relation to manufacturing, it is advantaging people. It is going to cause a lot of unemployment. People are scared that because of technology, they're going to lose jobs. No. If we embrace technology positively, we can be able to multi-skill our people. I think the world changes from time to time. Now our approach should be multi-skilling our workforce so that we can rotate our workforce. And the multi-skilling program for the workforce should also inculcate technological advancements in a particular manufacturing industry, depending on the type of manufacturing that you are doing. For an example, we've spoken about artificial intelligence. We know that in the hospitals, we already have got robots that are actually doing operations, conducting those medical procedures on humans. And they have been proven to be highly efficient, So these things are here. And I think because of these technologies, we have got many more opportunities for our young people. I mean, Tabang, for me, this is exciting times. I always say to my kids, listen, today you cannot come and tell me, Mom, you need this. Sit down, go onto the internet and speak to the world. Yes, there are risks here and there, but you can be able, at a click of a button, you can be able to someone anywhere in the world, and you can be able to create those networks that are very, very powerful. The networks are very, very powerful because it is in these networks where you will learn the trends, whether it is in manufacturing or any other industry. In our industry, robotics are there as well. 3D is there as well. Artificial intelligence is there. We are also exploring blockchain, which we know one of the excellent technologies that have been proven in addressing complexities in business. Level departments or businesses, so those are the things that we are looking into, and we are quite excited. And our communities and the population, those that are completing school, they should actually also be energized to look for information, to search, to knock on the doors, and because it is through that you can be listened to, and the door would then be open for someone to listen to your ideas. So manufacturing, I believe it is still the future. It is still the future in inculcation with the latest technologies that have been introduced. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that, Ms. Yende. And I think one thing that you raised for me that still probes us to believe and to move forward in manufacturing is particularly about what COVID has taught us. I think we need to be a country that whatever we consume, we need to learn to produce it. One thing that has caused a trade deficit in this country is because we export so much, yet we have the capabilities to produce our own. And so we need to realize the importance of production, that the peanut butter and the jam that you eat, you can make it yourself. The cars that we are importing, we can make ourselves. The clothing that we wear, we can make ourselves, And I think part of manufacturing and productivity when it comes to products and services, it's perception. Perception is what sells. And it's very unfortunate, what Balenciaga and your Louis Vuittons have done is they've shaped our ability to perceive the brand as a luxury, and so perception and persuasion, there's such a concomitant relationship between the two. And so if we can do that, as we produce, we brand, and we believe that we are enough as a continent, we are enough as a people, and what we do works. What we do is quality. What we do is, in Tsotsital we say babap tipupte, it's together, it's good. Once we deal with our mental capacity, once we deal with self-awareness, I think we have identity issues which then challenge us moving forward. And the fact that you mentioned, Ms. Yende, earlier on, to say that we have things from China and custom duties. COVID said that there's no importation. So what do we do? And one thing that it's helped us is to say, how do we develop our own? We've been knocked out. It's been serious. There's nothing wrong with trade. Trade is important for economies to grow. Inter-Africa trade, intra-Africa trade, trade between the globe, and also those technological developments, Mr. Dembe. We can't get that if we don't interact with, global partners and other countries. But as we interact, can we not compromise ourselves? Can we not trade based on dominance, but let's trade based on reciprocity? Let's make sure that even as we manufacture, there's a fair balance between the two when it comes to ownership, when it comes to procurement, when it comes to outsourcing products and services. It's got nothing to do, or it shouldn't be about racial classification, but it must be based on meritocracy. And this is why we're speaking about skills development, to say, how do we impart, how do we ensure more skills? The race card, it's over, right? It still exists in terms of equality and so forth. However, now we have no excuse. As young people, we have no excuse. As women, we have no excuse. We just need to alleviate bureaucratic issues and move past that and see how policies can be favorable to merit and production in the country. So thank you so much to both of you. My bosses are saying I'm talking too much, but this really a sector that hits core because as I did mention that I was at DTI and the biggest challenge was here are these people who came with these ideas, great ideas, and they started their plans. But guess what? They're stuck in debt. They can't pay back these grants. And because they can't pay back the grants, they become, everything is shut down. So it's all well and good. You have the great 10 million Rand technology, but because you took a loan from a conventional bank that is charging you interest, you're still paying that interest. And then you become blacklisted and then your business diminishes and then there's no access to markets and so forth. So I think there's a trilogy of things and measures that we really need to consider when it comes to manufacturing. So both of you, thank you very much. Miss Yenda, I really wish to engage with you further. And Mr. Demba, I definitely will be in touch with the both of you. I will hound you because this is a critical topic that we need to engage on. Thank you so much for the time. And thank you for all that you do for young people, for all that you do for South Africa, and all the best in the industry that you're in. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the skill scarcity in manufacturing sector panel discussion. As you see, it was heated. There was a lot of passion. And I must admit, it came from my side as well. And thank you to both of our panelists that really did justice to the topic. That was Ms. Felengiyende, the CEO of FP&M CETA, and also Dembe Nechelele, the portfolio manager of advanced manufacturing in Technology Innovation Agency. So that was that. And now we're about to conclude our day. Please be reminded to hashtag skills 2020